Hi, this is Jen from Windrose Fiber Studio, and you're watching the companion video to the Regensburg scarf pattern. This video will show you how to start your scarf, how to make the fringe, how to increase and decrease, and also how to form your ruffles. You're going to begin your scarf by measuring off about 12 inches of yarn. You want a 12-inch length of unworked yarn. So here we are at the beginning of the Regensburg scarf. The very first row, you start with a slip stitch on your hook, you chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and you half double crochet in the third stitch from the hook. That's just yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through all 3, and you've made a half double crochet. Row 2, we're going to chain 2. And before we turn and start crocheting row 2, we're going to make our first fringe. To make the fringe, you measure 8 inches of yarn. Then you hold the end of that 8 inches in between your thumb and your forefinger in a pinch, and we're going to twist it counterclockwise away from us about 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to hold on to that twist. If I release the tension, you can see that that 8 inches of yarn wants to backspin, and that's exactly what we want it to do. Now we can do row 2. We're going to yarn over by taking that pinch and transferring it to the hook. That's our yarn over for our first half double crochet. And then we're going to turn, and we're going to work our half double crochet the same way we did before. We're just going to insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Now don't worry about the stitch being a little loose because it's attached to that fringe yarn, or that fringe yarn being a little wild and curly. We're going to leave it just like that for now, and we're going to go ahead and finish row 2 by doing a second half double crochet in the same stitch. The even rows are going to be our increase and decrease rows. So we've just increased from 1 stitch to 2 stitches. And I'm going to chain 2 and turn. On the odd rows, we'll be half double crocheting across. There's only 2 stitches in this row, so there's our first one. Our second and last stitch of the row is worked into the fringe stitch. Part of the reason why I've left the fringe unfinished to this point is because it makes it easier to see the stitch placement. You can see where the stitch is, but we're going to do something a little bit different. We're only going to work into the back loop of that stitch, and instead of working into the front loop, we're going to go under the front of the fringe yarn. If I loosen this up a little bit, there's our fringe piece. You can see this is the piece in front. We're going to go under this piece and through the back loop of the stitch. So I'm going to yarn over. I think it's a little bit easier if you hold on to that back loop. I go under the fringed piece and under the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through all 3. Now the reason why I do it like that is because it helps to hold that fringe yarn, that fringe in place. And I also like the look of it, so it's an aesthetic thing too. Now that I have that stitch made, I can put my index finger through the loop of the fringe and then turn it clockwise about 6 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you can see that it just holds that twist. And it's a nice, loose, fun, twisted fringe. The first thing I'm going to do is half double crochet in the first 7 stitches. 1, 7. Okay, here goes the first ruffle. I'm going to chain. I like to hold on to this first stitch too. I'm going to chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to work a double crochet in the 4th stitch from the hook. Double crochet. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish the row by working half double crochets across. Now the stitch is going to look like it has a hole in it and it's going to stick up, but don't worry about that right now. That'll all be taken care of in the next row. So now there are going to be 8 stitches before the ruffle, 7, 8 might look a little tricky, but here's the stitch, here's where you place number 8, and now we're going to skip over the ruffle and we're going to half double crochet across, and when I turn it over I'm going to chain 2 and turn it over, and you can see that little ruffle sticking up. That's our first ruffle. When you use a different yarn to make the ruffles, you want to keep the working yarn in the front of your piece. The first thing I'm going to do is half double crochet 7 stitches, 6. Now when I get to stitch number 7, I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into my 7th stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, but I'm not going to finish this half double crochet with my main color. I'm going to drop my main color and I'm going to pick up my contrasting or my other yarn color, and I'm going to finish the stitch. And now I'm going to make my ruffle. I'm going to work my double treble crochet by chaining 6, I'm going to yarn over 3 times, insert my hook in the 6th stitch from the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. I have 5 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. That's the 2nd time, 3rd time. Now on the 4th time I'm going to drop that contrasting color and I'm going to go back to my main color, and I'm going to pull the orange through the last 2 loops on the hook. Then I'm going to yarn over and half double crochet to my next row of ruffles. Look at the back side of the scarf. It's nice and neat. I just have a little dot where each ruffle is formed. Now if I'm decreasing, I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing. I'm going to hold that twist of the fringe right there on my hook. That's my yarn over. I'm going to insert my hook into that first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's the beginning of my half double crochet decrease. Now I'm going to yarn over again, insert my hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and now I have 5 loops on my hook. I'm still holding on to the twist of my fringe string. I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 5 loops on the hook. I'm going to go through those first 3 and then whip it through those last 2, and I've just worked a half double crochet decrease. And now we're going to take these 12 unworked inches of string, make a fringe, and then sew in the loose end. I'm going to measure off my 8 inches, and I'm going to twist just like before. I'm going to twist 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to hold that pinch, and then I'm going to hold it to the end of, to the beginning, and I'm going to go ahead and make the fringe. 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 twists. Okay, so there's my fringe, and now I can just sew this beginning tail end into the back of my project. After you finish sewing in your tail piece, you can just snip it off, and now your fringe extends all the way to the point, which is going to look nice when you're wearing the scarf, to have a fringe all the way to each point of the scarf.